My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty.
Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love and Life Energy. And today I am having the great honor of interviewing one of my clients or former clients that I've gotten the privilege of getting to know and being in conversation with. And her name is Jennie Hayes. And my experience of Jennie is that she is the divine feminine embodied. And she is a yoga instructor and an artist. And her art and poetry take my breath away in a way that I can't even explain. So with that, Jennie, it is such an honor to have you here with me. Thank you for taking the time.
Anna, thank you so much for inviting me and having me on. I am just delighted to talk to you and spend a half hour in your company in any way, shape, or form. So,
oh God, that's such a compliment.
Oh gosh, no, it's what a compliment to be here. And yeah, I just so appreciate you and the sessions, the work that we did together this year. It's been really profound. And so, yeah, just happy to connect with you. And yeah, great to be here.
So you have gone back into your life has taken a new turn. You've gone back into your yoga practice and started to teach it again. Can explain more about what you're doing and what you're seeing?
Yes. I mean, essentially, I'm stepping back into what feels like my life after a period of time of stepping into a different world, a different life for various reasons. And it feels incredibly good. I have to say that, with the fear that comes to, just naturally comes with taking a new step or moving onto a different chapter of life, like I feel more supported and in a trusting place of life, which I feel like is a nod to you and our work. I feel in a trusting place more than ever because things have really, kind of gone in a direction of just unfolding. And so I've been able to step back into teaching yoga, also doing body work, massage, which I've done for a really long time. And have just been kind of popping up. Basically, I have the opportunity right now to do everything I love to do. And as you know, I'm a multi-dimensional creature, and I have a lot of different things that I love to do. So it feels great. And right now, there is a really large focus on teaching yoga again, which is this, a system of medicine in various different forms designed to unite us with divine energy. It's like, it just there's so many different paths and ways to know our true selves, and I'm just really deeply humbled to be kind of getting back into that and just facilitating even a few classes a week to bring that, offer that to people, in one way or the other. So it's pretty amazing.
And what is it that you have loved about, you've come back into yoga, you said you just did a training, and what did you discover? What did you see in this training?
Well, so one thing that I really felt drawn to share with you, and I was just kind of blown away, is so I feel like I want to do just a little like precursor to this. So recently, got back into teaching yoga, had an opportunity to do this training, and so I'm someone that actually found yoga because it helped me recover from trauma, like serious trauma in my life. And, getting into teaching, my original intention was to work with women who specifically had been through what I had been through. Right. And so, it's been a decade of teaching in various capacities, but kind of coming back to the practice now, I really wanted to get to that space where I could start to really move into that work. And so this training, manifested itself pretty quickly. It's yoga nidra, I rest. And I spent the past 2 weekends in session with this incredible teacher, Stephanie Lopez, who's phenomenal. And so this practice has really been shown and documented to help people in, all different types of, all different walks of life with PTSD specifically. And so it was very kind of quick how it all unfolded. And so it's rooted in Tantra, which I don't know if you know anything about this. Are you familiar with?
You know what? I do, but you know what? Not everybody who's going to listen, so share it.
Yeah. So my understanding of Tantra, and this is something that I've always been attracted to. So there's so many different paths, and different lineages of yoga, but the Tantric path is very much about embodiment and not turning away from anything, right? And so this has always really vibed with me because I am a creature of the night. I am someone who is well acquainted with darkness, as you know. And I actually pulled a little excerpt to read from a tantric text because I felt like you would love it. One, and it's just really relevant to this conversation, I feel. So I'm going to read it to you. Yeah, so it's from the Radiant Sutras, which I've mentioned to you before. It's just, this is actually a poetic translation of a tantric text. So it's embellished with really beautiful words, but essentially it's, Shiva and Shakti having a conversation. So the passage I wanted to read to you is 103, and it's abandon all these attitudes of wanting to prolong pleasure and avoid suffering. Let the heart be itself and feel whatever is there. Freed from clinging and avoiding, the heart regains its poise and revels in creation. Plunging deep into its center, discover that the heart is moved by a pulse that is everywhere.
Oh my God, Jenny, you just have to give me a second, because the timing of you reading that is so profound.
Oh, I know.
You know how I love the gene keys? There's the 30th gene key, and it's in the ring of purification, and it has to do with desire. And this weekend I saw that I have a desire to always move away from pain, and a desire to know God. And I realized that desire is what gets in the way of me knowing God and being in total bliss.
You just described one of the kleshas, which are, I don't know if you're familiar, but this is a yogic concept, right? There's the koshas and the kleshas. The kleshas are our, what keeps us from God. And one of them is turning away from pain and uncomfortable situations in life. And so Tantra is that practice of turning into the pain and turning into the suffering. And for me in my life, it's kind of a non-negotiable. It really has come to this point where I either face my pain continuously or I cease to exist in some way, and I think right now, just the way the world is and so divided, it's it just really rings true for me at this time. In a lot of ways. And so I just felt called to share that with you. So this practice that I look forward to diving into more as a teacher is, it's a meditation, essentially. We're not moving. It's not like an asana class, but it's really just diving into the sensations of the body, being with what is, as well as the thoughts, the emotions, and allowing all of these things gives rise to the divine, essentially, and witnessing that larger aspect of ourselves that's connected to everything else, God, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
No, it's so beautiful. So it sounds to me like what I'm hearing is that, because I know when I get into pain, my mind will click on, but what you're offering is that for people to slow down and get present and be with the sensations, and then notice how their mind and emotions come with it.
Well, so here's what's so incredible about this practice that I've just learned. So you have to understand this is super fresh, but we witness this. Like, if you meditate, I know you have had this experience, right? So when we allow ourselves to dive into our pain, to allow, to be with our pain, to be with our suffering, our darkness, whatever is present with us, naturally the opposite arises within us. It's just what happens, right? So if we are in the most contracted place in terms of our humanness, just our little teeny tiny fearful kind of place, which is just part of being human, if we sit with that long enough, something else rises within us, and it just happens, and so so it was really profound to kind of have that, these past couple weekends just lined, sort of laid out for me, and witness it with some intention, and watch it, kind of journal about it, because it's just so healing on so many levels to understand that if we can really be in our deepest discomfort, we can open up to the highest levels of joy and bliss. So just sitting with
What I'm
that.
hearing is this, well, what I just heard you say, which I really am loving, is the deeper I go into my pain and the wider that I can be with it, the depth that I can be with it, and is an equation of the depth that I can be with my joy, and the joy and my passion and my love.
Exactly.
That there is an equal.
Yeah, it's just it's so interesting, because over the past 2 years especially, I started to pick up on this correlation, right? And even before our work together, and even before my work with a phenomenal woman, Vanessa Alfaro, who's been an important part of embracing my darkness over the past couple of years, I just started to notice on those days where I really just was at the depths of, let's just say, like rock bottom, like my PTSD, not being able to move for days at a time, barely, just in bed. And when I would finally allow myself to just be there versus resist, feel guilt, feel shame, whatever, resistance was there, when I just dove into it the next day, right? Or, in days following, it was like these jubilant, like these moments. And, outside of the realm of any labels or mood disorders or whatever, right? It's like I experienced like what it is to really, just to embrace those parts. And I started to notice this correlation, like this keeps happening, right? Like, like there's something here,
It's so funny what I just felt, Jennie, and when we're talking, if I can share this, is that like human beings in this human form, this goes back to the 3 principles, in this human form, I have this wide range of emotions, from just total agony and pain to complete ecstasy. And what's constant is the consciousness that I am. The source of that energy. The purity that's never changing.
Right. The self with the capital S, just taking a moment to kind of breathe into that. Definitely. I think that, feel free to go on, but I just think that there's something about this for me that feels like the way, especially when we're living in times that feel so polarized. Like we are constantly faced with darkness and suffering. It's almost accelerated or exaggerated. And I think that turning away from it, right? It's we can try to do that, but not really. It's just kind of not, it's nonstop. It just keeps coming, and it almost feels like we're at some kind of peak, of course, in this very moment on the planet. And I think I've been working a lot just on a personal level, and maybe you can share with me what's new with you, but really diving into my fear, my fear of death. Because I feel like there's just been so many themes kind of present in my life. It's like, just really kind of meeting that edge, which, by the way, that's another one of the kleshas, is fear of death. It's like with us our entire lives on some level. but if we can blast through this, it's like all the power of creation and the cosmos, and work with it. So,
well, it's interesting. Richard Rudd said that human beings have fear built into their body as a survival mechanism.
yeah.
And then we became afraid of our fear of fear. And the biggest fear is that we will die. But what's seen is that, this form, having watched people die and sat with them, I know the form goes because I've watched it.
Right.
I've watched my husband die. And then feeling the love that I have for him has never died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But losing this form is the ultimate fear.
It is. I feel that in some way I've been, really pondering that and thinking it's just been present. So, we're deep in Scorpio season right now. So another layer that, you didn't mention in the intro, but just to share, I'm an astrologer, and we're deep in the time of year that's all about death cross-culturally.
So what does that mean? Say more about what that is in this time of Scorpio.
Yeah, Scorpio, exactly. I mean, this is a time of shedding, right? And of looking at, one, honoring ancestors, of course, look at Day of the Dead, which is in the heart of Scorpio season, but really becoming, it's like cozying up with death, right? And just in Northern Hemisphere, we're watching, maybe in some places, the Bay Area is, of course, the vortex and totally different, but watching parts of nature die or appear to die, right? And just honoring death as much as we honor life, right? Because this is what this time, literally right now, this moment, is all about. And so I think it's great we're having this conversation. It's just, really.
So death is in some ways, death is such a beautiful thing. I mean, in Aikido, martial art that I studied, they talked about energy. Energy can't be destroyed or created, but it can transform. It can become something new. So something can die and something new can be rebirthed.
Oh yeah. You shared this with me on a session, a call, a while back. And it's really, really stuck with me because that conversation was really profound for where I was at in that moment. And it's like, I feel like in spiritual community, there's a lot of like talk about release and letting go and all of this, right? But it's like, I think what you said in that conversation that struck me was that, things don't necessarily die, they just change form. Exactly. And then our perception of them changes, right? And that's what changes. And yes, yeah, exactly. And I think that honoring death is a part of life, and looking at it's just movement of energy, right? I feel that a lot, and I think that it helps release from fear a bit, doesn't it? Right? When that perspective comes in. And
Well, when you just said it, Jennie, when you just said it's part of life, my whole body relaxed.
Right? Yeah.
If we know that this is part of the gig, like people are surprised, and not that we aren't going to have moments of like, oh, I'm going to miss and sad, but it's part of the game.
Yeah. It's freeing, isn't it? Just to like sit in that energy. My God, I know. Yeah.
Well, but it also makes me cherish the life that I have.
Oh, so
because I know it's temporary.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that this has definitely the past couple months been on my mind, because I feel in some meditations, especially this, I mean, literally, I'll just cite an experience that I had a few days ago. And one of the last meditations in this event that I took part in is I could literally feel myself expand completely into the cosmos and then come back into my body. And it was almost like I was oscillating between the two. And I could feel like that fear of death, of losing my body, and it's like nothing else. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, these themes are just kind of running strong right now.
You know what I just felt, Jenny? And
Share.
I'm betting, can we look here?
Yes.
I'm wondering if there wasn't a moment of deep gratitude and reverence for your body
Oh, yes.
when you're, and I'm wondering if we just hadn't looked there long enough, rather than being afraid. We're so used to looking at that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you said you were coming back in, I could feel I could actually feel the ecstasy and the appreciation of it.
Yeah, I mean, just the sheer power of being in this body. What I witnessed in this moment that I mentioned more than ever before, and avid meditator, but yeah, gratitude for my body, and then also just feeling like completely amazed, because I think truly I'm coming back into my body more than ever before in my life, kind of peeling back all of these layers where I've been really existing in the realm of my mind and in my kind of stuck in my trauma in various different ways. And so just really feeling into the fullness and power of the body is just like, holy shit. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Like I'm just wondering, like I'm so curious right now. Because I can feel like going out into the field, like going out and expanding is so fun.
It is.
And then what's it like just to be able to go back and forth and play back and forth?
Well, as I mentioned, it was quite terrifying, but no, but exhilarating. Let's change that to exhilarating.
Oh my God.
Right.
Because what I'm actually seeing is that, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm really having an esoteric experience with you. I can actually see then how we've been at some point, like if I'm the spirit, then I could go get into the body of an eagle.
Well, this is the thing when we start to tap into consciousness. I mean, primordial consciousness, the source of which we all come from, all possibility is there. And this is where creation comes in. Right. And so that was like at the end of this sutra that I just read you. It's like when we confront our edges and kind of meet them and expand into the space that's all around us, there's infinite potential there. And we can use that potential to create whatever it is we want to create in this life, and I'm just coming into this awareness. I'm literally sharing this. I feel like a newborn babe, but every day, essentially. But this is kind of what I'm getting into these days. You know what I mean? Is really allowing myself to expand into the fullness of my being and not be ruled by fear, but instead to embrace the fear, and it's it's healing, and there's a lot of potential there,
Well, I've seen you since I've met you. I feel like I've watched I want to find the word, so give me a second.
Please, no rush.
It's like you've owned your creative spirit, and she's stepped out with bravado, and like nothing's going to stop her. And I've watched you make the most magnificent hats, the most beautiful paintings, earrings, and just art left and right.
Yeah.
And that to me that's because it's like you have this capacity to go out and go, anything's possible. Oh, okay, now I'm going to make hats, these custom beautiful. And you got hats at first, and then you're like, no, screw that. I'm going to make the hat itself.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a hat maker.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I just am done limiting myself, and I think that part of my life path is, also I look forward to encouraging, and I do this in my very small circle of sisters and women, it's like, we all have this capacity. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just starting to step more into the fullness of my being and embrace my multi-dimensional qualities, but yeah, I really think that there's just we can do anything we want, but I will say there's a direct correlation to what we were just talking about in terms of diving to the depths of our being and allowing ourselves to confront our pain, our anger, our grief. I'm still doing this every single fucking day. So
you too.
say, I am not beyond this. This is a lifelong thing, yeah, the profundity of my, the brief times and the sessions and our conversations, and then preceding that, working with this phenomenal woman I mentioned before, Vanessa. She specializes in she calls herself an anger and transformation coach. And this woman, her path is teaching women how to embody their anger, their sacred rage, and to use it. Right. And so this is the precursor to my work with you, which has kind of brought me to this place where I'm at now, which is, about exploring my infinite potential, stepping into my purpose and truth. But it's all related, my ability to step up every day and to meet my pain, my suffering, that's what allows me and will continue to allow me to become more who I am, and I just want to give permission in some way, whether it's like my classes or future meditation classes that I hope to lead in the future as I get more comfortable through the lens of I rest, but give people permission to feel into those places, because I know its benefit, and I witness that on a experiential, visceral level, So
I do. I actually know that there's a pony in all the manure.
Yeah.
The Richard, it's through the pain and suffering as I get to know God, and it's all one.
Exactly.
And I get to become responsible for my experience, but not act it out on other people.
Exactly. The projective, right? So it's like, that's what really led me into my work around anger, is that having some serious checkpoints in life around really projecting onto other people in an abusive and violent way, of course, is a direct result of my own experience and experiencing those things and being on the other side of it. But, learning and eventually someday or one day, okay, I've got to take responsibility for this. And not only that, how do I use this? That's a lot of energy. Like, there's so much energy and power in anger, in grief, and all of our darkest kind of emotions and corners. It's like, how do we harness this, and use it to our best ability to transmute and to create.
What's so funny, Jenny, is what I'm really feeling with you right now in this conversation is a beauty in it all. A beauty in the rage, a beauty in the anger, a beauty in the grief that I've never felt before.
Good.
But I think that that's what you're modeling.
Yeah.
Like this, like what I'm feeling for you right now is, it's like sometimes when I hike and I see a decayed tree, I can see the beauty in it.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing from you and feeling from you, and what you're offering part of your medicine is that you're saying to people, this too is beautiful. This too is as elegant as the happy, joyful part. Come partake. You don't need to be afraid of it.
This is so exactly, and I just love your visual example you just provided, the decaying, tree or log. This is, not only is it beautiful, it's essential for the regeneration of life and creation. So it's like, yes, just yes, it's finding beauty in the darkness, walking in the darkness. I think it's a passion of mine, I guess you would say, and
Yeah, but that's what I'm actually, it is a passion of yours. And that, like right now, what I'm seeing, like I see soul's journeys.
Yeah.
The reason why you had to have so much darkness is so that you could share it, because it's really a passion of yours, because you equally have knowing you equally have as much light, if not more, because that's the fuel to the light. But you're not afraid of it. You actually have a passion. The other was the misunderstanding about it. Like nobody told you, oh, by the way, do you know you're a genius, you're a goddess in this place.
Yeah, I think I do believe that we, in terms of karma and fate and destiny, there's like a lot to say there, theories and ideas, right? But I do believe that the experiences, especially the formative experiences that we have at younger ages, and what we came into this life with, it's not a coincidence. It's not, by accident. I think that my journey and some of the things that I've been through absolutely, is meant to happen because of my life purpose, which is to embody the darkness, but in a way that's like gives way to the light.
I feel I've never seen it so beautiful.
Thank you.
I can't believe this is the fastest 30 minutes I've ever had. And I want people to find you, because I want people to sit in your presence and be able to be with you, because just by being with you, they'll start to get comfortable with it. So where can they, what's your website? How do they find you?
Perfect.
And
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Yes, it's my website is freshmoon/wellness.com. And that's a way that you can I think my yoga schedule should be up there. It will be. If it's not, maybe I'll take a look after this call just to make sure it's updated. And my body work. And I also do astrology readings, tarot, and soon to be custom hats, right? So I'm still piecing together this hat project. But thank you so much for having me, Anna. And so happy to just connect with you. And this conversation, again, it felt like 5 minutes. It was just like playing, and really nice to chat with you.
Thank you so much. And all this will be listed on the link under the podcast. So thank you, Jennie.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sending you so much love. Okay, take care. Thank you.